Welcome to the Shinobi podcast. I am Firehawk the Shinobi, and you may see some of my extra cast members walking around here. Obviously, I have my two dogs over here, and um, they are definitely always wanting to be where I am. So, thank you for joining me today. I'm definitely excited about getting back to doing the podcast. I've been away for a little bit, and the reason why I was kind of sucked down that trail of trying to get monetized and trying to reach what I need to reach to get monetized. Because I have the subscribers, and I thank every single one of you that have subscribed. I thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. I would really appreciate that. But I do appreciate all of you that have, and the number of subscribers I have to me is mind blowing to me. Maybe someone else would think that it's not, but I don't take light of that, and I do appreciate every single one of you that have subscribed and that take your time to watch my content. I greatly appreciate that, and I hope that I can get you away from all the nonsense of the world. We can forget that for a minute, and we can just talk about anime. We can talk about K-pop. We can talk about J-pop, and we can just kind of think about those things for a minute. And so I hope that you find my content entertaining and enjoyable, and that's my goal. Obviously, is to have something that's enjoyable to you, and that is just something that is fun to listen to, and just has great enjoyability, and we can be like, oh, that was interesting. And that's what I hope when I do this content. And so obviously, we're kind of changing gears here, but we're going to still talk about anime on here. Obviously, we're changing a little bit of a format of the podcast, and we will talk about K-pop and J-pop because those are things that I really, really love as well, and I just really, really enjoy. And so I want to share that enjoyment with you. I probably, listen to more K-pop, J-pop than anything anymore. I have listened to a lot of other music as well. I used to always listen to rap. I grew up listening to rap. I really love rap. Obviously, my favorite rapper obviously is Biggie. And I will always love Biggie. And I guess I enjoy older rap and older style of music more than I enjoy the newer stuff that there is today. And so we do have a lot of people that, consider mumble rappers. And I think it's not just that I consider them mumble rappers. They sing and rap about stuff that we can't relate to. They're rapping about making money, throwing bands and doing all stuff. Like, I can't relate to that. I enjoyed, the music of yesterday and my time when I was younger. I enjoyed listening to those songs. Yes, some of them were hardcore songs, but they always had they were talking about, making it out of the ghetto. And I grew up in ghetto areas. And so I really much, enjoyed those type of songs that were talking about, hey, let's get out of here. Like, let's make it out of here, and I always enjoyed that type of music because I could relate to it. And I think that most of the time when we listen to songs that we can find relatable. People listen to Taylor Swift because they find a lot of her songs relatable. A lot of us care about love, and a lot of us, unfortunately, know a lot about breakups. And most of the time, we always want to see Taylor Swift have those breakups more than have those actually good relationships. And I hope that this relationship that she's in, I hope this continues to be successful, because I think most of the time, we root for people to fail, and I think that's how we can be sometimes. Is we want to root for people to break up more than be successful, and I think that that's the wrong way of thinking. I want to see people be successful. I always root for people to be successful. I always root for relationships. I love love. Obviously, I love romances, and that's why I do watch a lot of romance animes. And even in regular animes, I always want there to be. I'm always like shipping people. You can ask my little brother, my baby brother, because they'll tell you that I'm always wanting to ship people, and like, oh, where's the romance aspect of it? I love Naruto very much, but the one thing I couldn't wait to see is who Naruto was going to end up with, who who is going to be his wife. I wanted to see that. I wanted to see who he was going to end up with, and I'm so happy that he ended up with Hinata, obviously. I think that was the better pick. But I do think there are some problematic relationships in Hunter x Hunter, and then some that just feel like I mean, not in Hunter x Hunter, but in Naruto, and they just slapped some together that just seemed like they were like, oh, what do we do with these characters? We'll just make them a relationship, and it doesn't make any sense. So I do feel like some of them are problematic, and even Sasuke and Sakura, they to me, their relationship seems problematic, and it doesn't seem like it should be a thing. But to me, if Naruto was going to end up with anybody other than Hinata, it should have been Sasuke. Like, because he was, it seemed like he was super in love with Sasuke. So I've talked about that in time past, and stuff like that. Happy Pride Month, everybody, by the way. Obviously, if you don't like talking about LGBT stuff, obviously, I'm probably not the podcast for you. If you're anti-LGBT, then you shouldn't be watching anime either, because anime is definitely all LGBT. That's why I love anime. That's why I fell in love with anime in the first place. That's how I got into anime. My baby brother literally told me, he goes, you should watch anime. If you want to see representation of you, watch anime. There are transgender characters in anime. And I was like, okay. And so then I did research. And I researched what are the top transgender characters. And so when I researched it at the time, the names that came up, obviously, was Alika from Hunter x Hunter and Lily from Zombieland Saga. Those are the top two characters everybody talked about for trans characters. So I started watching Hunter x Hunter, and obviously you have to wait. For you that have watched Hunter x Hunter, you know that Alika doesn't come for pretty much towards the end of the series. And so by the time I just kept watching, but by the time she came around, I was already in love with the other characters. And obviously I loved Killua. And then I fell more in love with Killua because of how he treated his transgender sister. He was the one that was very adamant on making sure that everybody used her pronouns, that everybody saw her the way that she was supposed to be saw. And I just fell in love with him even more. He became a character that I love very, very, very much. And he's probably one of my favorite characters of all time is Killua. I love him so, so much. But I love Hunter x Hunter. And I think we all have an anime that got us in. For whatever reason, we started watching anime. Maybe we had a friend that loved anime. Whatever your reason for starting to watch anime was. Mine obviously was for the LGBT aspect of it. And there's a lot of LGBT relationships. There's non-binary people represented in anime. And so, like I said, to me, if you're anti-LGBT, then you shouldn't be watching anime. That's my personal opinion on that, because there are so many different characters out there that have those non-binary or trans, or you see those gay relationships, and I think that's amazing. I mean, Hunter x Hunter also has a gay relationship as well, with Illumi and Hizuka. Those two are engaged. They talk about it in the manga. I mean, they don't talk about. You can always see that dynamic that they always seem like they're in a relationship. It always seemed to me like they were like they had romantic feelings for each other because of how they acted around each other. But then when you read the manga later on, you find out that they're engaged and different things like that. I mean, there's some craziness to the relationship, but I definitely enjoyed that relationship as well. But anyways, that's what I love about anime. That's what I fell in love with, and so I watched it for those reasons. And now I just fell in love with anime, and I've watched so many different animes. I can't tell you how many I've watched, because I've watched so many now. A lot of them are newer, I would say newer animes. And I always kind of consider myself a newer fan, but my baby brother hates when I say that, because he's like, no, you're an anime fan. You're not, don't put yourself in that category. like newer. I just put myself in newer because that's the ones I've watched. I've seen more are newer animes. But he's like, no, you've watched some bigger animes. I've watched Naruto. Obviously, I love Naruto. I've watched Hunter x Hunter. I watched Cowboy Bebop, and there's a few others that I've watched too, out there that are older that I've watched and I really enjoyed. And they're some of my favorites. Like they're very good aspect. Cowboy Bebop is very enjoyable, just to watch, and I think that's really great. Obviously, they have a non-binary, I think trans character, in Radical Edward. I do think that they feel more, they lean more towards being masculine than feminine. So I think that eventually they probably would have, down through their life, want to be more male than female. But anyways, that's kind of what led me into it. But I think everybody has their first. I think what I found in anime is that everybody, when they find their first one, it's like their first love, and so everybody like stays super in love. That's their favorite anime to this day. Whatever anime you watch first, a lot of times, the majority of times that I've been talking to people, is what their favorite anime is still today. And I can say that in my family, I still love Hunter x Hunter. That was my first anime that I watched. Hunter x Hunter is still one that I love super, super much. Love it super, super much. And my little brother, Dragon Ball. All the Dragon Balls. He loves all the Dragon Balls, but Dragon Ball was like his first anime. That's what he loves. He talks about Dragon Ball all the time. He loves Dragon Ball. My baby brother is Naruto. I mean, he was the one that got me into Naruto in the first place. Took me a long time to watch Naruto. And I think it is harder now for me to watch animes that have so many episodes, because you're like, whew, I'm just going to be sitting here watching anime. And I haven't gotten in, there's been some series that I want to do that on, that they have so many that I'm just like, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to start watching it, and even like just always playing it. That's what I did with Naruto. I was just like, every day I come home, Naruto. Until I got through it. Till I got through Naruto. Till I got through Naruto Shippuden. Like, obviously Naruto is very much, I would say kid friendly and very kiddish. You don't see, I think you see a little bit of death, obviously, when you see the third Hokage die. And in Naruto, when you watch it, when the third Hokage dies, you actually feel sad. But then you watch Naruto Shippuden, and you learn a lot about the third Hokage. And I think the third Hokage, to me, is one of my most hated Naruto characters, because he was a true villain, because he didn't do anything that he was supposed to do. He was the reason why, like, the Uchiha clan got, like, he was the one that instructed, obviously Itachi to do so. And so he was the reason for that. He made a promise to make sure that Naruto was taken care of, and that he and his mom asked to make sure that he knew that his parents loved him. Naruto went through life not knowing who his parents even were. So he super, super failed. And just super villain to me. He's the real villain of Naruto to me. Madara was a villain by circumstance. So many different things in his life made him into that villain. But to me, Madara is probably one of the greatest anime villains of all time. And that's my personal opinion. To me, there's not a lot of anime villains that could rival him. But there are animes that I haven't watched, so I can't speak for those. I can't comment on their villains because I haven't seen them. But all the animes that I've seen, there is nobody that can rival Madara, because he orchestrated so much. He was so behind the scenes that people that they fought down through time were put in their path, ended up in their path because of Madara and his maneuvering of people. And I think that is just something crazy. And so, yes, I think but like I said, all of us, I think, have our first, anime that we watched that we fell in love with. And I think that becomes a lot of times that becomes our comfort anime. Usually our first anime is our comfort anime. And so like if I'm sick, and I'm gonna be home and I'm just gonna be watching anime. I want to watch Hunter x Hunter. Obviously, I love Hunter x Hunter because if you look at my Funkos, there's a whole line of Hunter x Hunter. I mean, obviously there's Dragon Ball. I do love Dragon Ball. The top shelf is all Dragon Ball, and then I have a poster of Naruto back there. But I do have my, Alaka, Killua, two Karoptikas. I have regular Karoptika and then Scarlet Eye Karoptika Funko Pop, and then I have Bisky. Obviously, but I do enjoy Hunter x Hunter, which I have more Funko Pops than that, but I do enjoy Hunter x Hunter very, very much. That's my comfort. Like if I'm sick, that's what I want to watch. I want to watch Killua and go and do their thing and just watch them. But that's what got me into anime in the first place was the LGBTness, and I fell in love. Like I am addicted. I would say now that I was addicted to romance, but I would say that romance animes have a flaw to them because most romance animes are one season. And the most frustrating thing to watch a romance anime is to watch a romance anime and them not do anything. They don't kiss each other. They give a peck on a cheek, and then most of the time sometimes they don't even end up together. That is so frustrating. You want them to fall in love. I like I said, I root for love so much that I'm always like shipping people and wanting to see the love aspects. I was that way in Naruto. I couldn't wait to see, them get together. And I just was like, when are they going to get together? And then what I liked in Naruto was that they made a movie, Naruto The Last. And to me, that movie was amazing. That really emphasized Naruto and Hinata's relationship, which was amazing to me. I really enjoyed that. To me, Sakura wasn't even in the equation. Some people wanted to see Naruto with Sakura. I don't think that was the right person for him. Because she was. I mean, you do see it a lot in animes where the person that is most, I guess, hateful and mean and nasty to you is the person you fall in love with. We do see that a lot in animes, but I think that's problematic because I think Naruto fell in love with the right person. If he was going to fall in love with a problematic person, I think it should have been Sasuke. And the reason why that could be is I think, I could have seen him fall in love with Sasuke easily because they were childhood friends forever. That was someone that he hung out with as a child. Obviously, he did fall in love with Hinata as a child as well. Like, he did things for her, but he never really got to have the relationship that he had with Sasuke, obviously. So, for me, if Naruto was going to end up with anybody else, it had to be Sasuke. But I'm glad he ended up with Hinata because Hinata was the person that Naruto needed. Because Naruto needs someone not to be mean to him. He's already had that. He's had that through his whole life. He needed someone that would love him and show him love because he didn't have that. Naruto never had that. And so that's why I think he ended up with the right person. But like I said, I do root for relationships and pretty much all the animes that I watch. I'm always wanting there to be a love aspect, and I do enjoy that aspect. I'm like, when are they gonna just fall in love? And so that's why I think I kind of switched away from watching. I do watch a lot of romance anime still, but I do get frustrated with them a lot of times because you don't get a second season, and then you're just like, the only way you're going to finish the story is reading mangas, and there's so many of romance ones that I'm like, well, I'm going to have to finish the story by getting the manga, and I'm like, well, that gets kind of frustrating sometimes because you're like, oh, how does this story end? You want to see how it ends. But I think we're all that way. And then I think the one type of anime that I really kind of got sucked into lately is I've been watching a lot of isekais. I don't know what it is. I watch too many isekais. I've watched a lot of isekais. Just falling into another world, and I'm excited about Suicide Squad getting an isekai, which I think that would be really great. I grew up watching, reading comments and reading comic books and just really loving that aspect because I think I was hoping for someone to save me. So that's why I absorbed myself into that world because the hero always saves the day and always rescues whoever needs to be rescued. And I kind of felt that way, that I needed to be rescued. And so now I feel like I kind of went away from that because that's not exactly what I need anymore. That's why I'm into anime, because it's the world that I want the world to be. It's not, we're not judging you on the color of your skin. We're not judging you on where you came from. We're not judging you on who you love. We're not judging you on what your gender is. We're judging you. We're not judging you for being transgender. We're judging you because of the kind of character you are. What kind of person are you? And that's what makes me love anime so much. What kind of person are you? And so that's what made me love it so much. I would like you guys to comment and stuff and tell me, what was your first anime? Let me share that with me. Share to me if your first anime is the anime that you love to this day. And if your first anime is also your comfort anime, let me know. Tell me in the comments. I would definitely like that. I definitely love talking to people about the animes that they enjoy. I guess I actually love talking to anybody about things that they're passionate about. If you're passionate about anime, I love that. If you're passionate about superheroes, I love that. If you're passionate about music, I love that. Even if you're passionate about your faith, I love hearing about that. Even if your faith doesn't align with me, I still would love that. And to me, like, as long as you are respectful of me, we don't have to see eye to eye. And I think that's where we aren't like that anymore in the world. If you're not like me, I hate you, I want you to die. That's where the world is. And I don't want it to be that way. Because to me, I'm not that type of person. I don't care if you agree with me or see everything eye to eye with me. We can still be friends. And I can still talk to you about what you're passionate about. I grew up in church very, very much. I went to a university. I went to seminary. And so, to be, and I was a former, pastor and things like that. I had that background. But I still will share that with people. I still will let people talk about those things, even though I don't personally see those things. I love hearing those things. And that's the same way with anime. I may have not seen an anime that you love, but I'll definitely hear it. Like, I love hearing what animes people are passionate about. Some people are stuck, like they have a certain genre that they really love. Maybe they love those adventure or those actions, or they love isekais, or they love something else. This is the type of anime that they really love, and they kind of get stuck in that. Maybe they love sports animes, which there are a lot of good sports animes out there that I enjoy. Obviously, I'm really excited about Blue Lock. I love Blue Lock, and I think it's a really good anime, and I think it's really exciting. So, but I think that's kind of how we are with anime, and I think what I also love about anime is it can get you into other things like J-pop. I love J-pop, but there's so many bands. What I like about J-pop, it's so different from K-pop. So K-pop is very, I would say, influenced by pop music, like actual American pop music, influenced by hip-hop, influenced by rap, and R&B. I would say those are some of the ones that, when you look at K-pop, that's kind of, they fall into those genres. Where J-pop is so much different. I would say the major thing that J-pop usually is rock. That's the major J-pop thing. There are pop groups out there too, but I would say the rock scene is what lives and is, rules the roost in Japanese music scene. They do have great rappers as well. I think I love listening to some of the raps. Like I said, I think I got away from a lot of American rap because a lot of it is, I don't feel like I can relate to. There are some that I do really relate to and I really do love. Like, there's some people that have such an amazing voice. That are newer artists, considered newer artists. Maybe they're not as new as they were when I started listening to him, like Rod Wave. I do love Rod Wave, and I think that his voice is amazing, and I do enjoy listening to his music because I can relate to his music. Because somewhat can be depressing or talking about depressing things, and I can relate to those things. But I think most of the times I can't relate to some of these other artists. I can listen to Taylor Swift because I can relate to most of her music. I can listen to a lot of different, and I do love a lot of, like I said, I do love a lot, and I still have a lot of American music on my iPod, music that I grew up with, rap that I grew up with. I love Biggie. I love, listening to, 3 6 Mafia and different things like that. I grew up with a lot of different artists, DMX, different things like that. But as far as like nowadays, I probably listen to more K-pop, J-pop than anything. I've become addicted. I really dived into the J-pop scene because of anime. I wanted, I learned about these bands from different things, and I found out that they were Japanese bands. I didn't know that. I thought maybe they were undiscovered English band or whatever. No, they were Japanese bands. Like when I watched Fire Force, I love Fire Force, and both songs, both seasons, both both of their opening songs are amazing. The first season obviously was a Japanese song called Inferno. It's very, very good. Second song was still by a Japanese band, but it was called Mayday. And that song is amazing. And the band is called Cold Rain. And they're a Japanese band, and they're very, very good. And then you also got like Attack on Titan, who has a song that blows up that everybody listening to is called Rumbling. Well, that's very much from a Japanese band called Silence in Motion, or SIM. Very, very good band. And then so it got me into other bands. I was like, what other J-pop groups are out there? And I started listening to 1OK Rock. I fell in love with 1OK Rock. Oh my gosh, they're just so good. I love their music. Toka's just so good. His voice is so good. I do love listening to, and they sing most of their songs in English. So for you all that don't want to listen to something in another language, which to me, there are some songs that are just better in Japanese or Korean. Like, take for instance, Unravel by TK for Tokyo Ghoul. The English version of the song is trash because the melody had to change, because they had to add words and filler. Where in Japanese, it's a banger. Like, it is a song that you're like, man, I love this song. And you can feel all the emotions, the rise and the fall. There's just so much in that song. Like, to me, that song is like everything. You have sadness, then you have your up hype, and it just so much in that song. It's an amazing song, but there's songs that are just better in Japanese because of the way, it just better. It just sounds way different. And my baby brother's is Hispanic, so he will say all the times like that's better. Like this, like listening to that is better in Spanish, because the interpretation, the translation is different. And so obviously the anime translations, I've been learning Japanese, so I will say that when you read the captions at the bottom, that the translation is not always 100%, obviously, because they have to add those fillers in there to make it more for us, because we have all these different things that we add to how we speak, where Japanese is not like that at all. Japanese is very literal. They have a formal and an informal way of speaking. So I just find that amazing. But like I said, there's so many different bands. Obviously, the Toka's brother has a band, My First Story, which is amazing. They have both of those bands have some newer music that just came out. Very, very good. I love them. I love, just kind of fell down a rabbit hole. Kind of love, got into some metal, baby metal, and Bandmade, and different just so many different groups. But I would say that the majority of the groups in Japan are rock. I would say there's a lot of rock influence. There are rappers too. There are definitely rappers. Like Sky High is one of my favorite Japanese rappers. He's amazing. The way he raps is really, really good. So I do have a rap scene as well. But I would say the rock scene is kind of rules the roost. And I do think that there are some other type groups out there that kind of fall into different categories. But I would say that majorly, I would say that rock is definitely what everybody loves to listen to. Where K-pop, is different. There's, like I said, they have the hip hop and different things, which they do have. Obviously, one of my favorite groups right now is XG. Obviously, I really, really love them, but technically they're all Japanese, but they do K-pop, and so they are signed to a K-pop label, and they do the K-pop scene. They're in Korea. They're doing music in Korea with their tour and stuff like that. Which what I like about a lot of K-pop groups is they speak so many different languages. What I hated so much about people being mean to Stray Kids, which I'm a huge Stray Kids fan, that I didn't like that. You're treating them badly. I just don't like people treating anyone badly. But like these guys speak three languages. Some of them speak more than three languages, but most of them speak English, Japanese, and Korean. Like, and that's, to me, that's amazing to speak multiple languages. And most people in Japan are bilingual. They know one or two languages. So there are some that know Portuguese, because there's a big, obviously there's a big Japanese population in Brazil. In what is it? In Brazil, that they have a lot of influence there. Actually, I think that's one of the highest population outside of Japanese population outside of Japan is actually in Brazil. Not the United States. United States, I think, is second, and then Canada after that. But definitely great influence. I do love, like I said, I do love XG. Like, if you haven't listened to XG, I love all of them. I'm definitely would consider myself an alpha, which is what they call their fans, in their fan groups. Like I said, I definitely love Stray Kids as well, but I love XG, and their song Woke Up. If you haven't listened to Woke Up, definitely go out and listen to it. It's amazing how they rap. I mean, just amazing. I love all these different groups out here, the K-pop groups, and there's so many that are coming on the scene, that are just starting out. XG, I guess, would be considered just starting out or getting popularity. They have been doing songs for a while, which some of them are just really, really good. And they can most of them, some of them don't rap, some of them just sing. I would say there's probably two in the group that just do singing, like Krista and Hanata. Like, they would just be singers, primarily. But pretty much all of them can sing, and quite a bit of them have some great rapping. Just amazing rappers. But like I said, pretty much all of them can sing too. Like, it's amazing. It's a great video to watch, and so I hope that you do go out and watch it, because, like, get into XG, man. They are amazing. There's some other groups coming out. They're just kind of starting out too. Baby Monster's coming out. I definitely enjoy them. I think some of the new stuff that they have, I think it's really enjoyable. I think it's really good. I think they're a really good girls group that's just starting on the scene. Obviously, like I said, I love Stray Kids. They're like one of my favorites. A lot of people are into BTS. I'm not a huge BTS fan. I never really got into BTS. Maybe because everybody else was into BTS. And so I got into Stray Kids, which obviously Stray Kids had a lot of popularity. Now they have a lot more, because obviously BTS is all in the military. So you don't really see a lot of BTS stuff right now. So Stray Kids is kind of taking that role. But there are a lot of other great groups out there, a lot of great guy groups, a lot of great girl groups in Korean, and K-pop, and and obviously also in in the J-pop scene. There's so many different. The great thing about J-pop is like most of it's rock, so you have people that play instruments and have so many great talents. And there's not, if you're into metal, there's not a lot of great metal bands out there anymore. A lot of the American rock scene is dying off. The bands that you see are older bands that have been around for very much established. You're not seeing a lot of new bands come around, rock bands. What you're seeing is a lot of your older bands still playing music, like even like Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco. You see them doing new songs. You see Coldplay and like even older bands, that like Train and different ones that are out there that have been around for so long, doing music or coming back and doing music, which is great. But you don't see newer bands coming out there. You don't see a lot of new bands coming on the scene. You see a lot of new artists, single artists out there doing stuff, but it's usually in a single capacity. You don't see a lot of groups or bands. You might see single people do some rock type music, like MGK doing rock, rap, pop. He does all of it. But you don't see a lot of people doing like rock bands coming out. But anyways, hey, if you're a J-pop fan or a K-pop fan, there's so many different animes out there that if you listen, like I fell in love with certain groups just because I watched, an anime and their song came on, and I was like, who does that song? Like, I gotta find the song and I gotta get it. I gotta add it to my iPod. I gotta have it because it's so good. And so you will see that like in, I do like a lot of K-pop groups that do Japanese versions because I do like listening to it in Japanese a lot, just because I am trying to learn Japanese, and so I try to expose myself to as much as possible. But there's so many good groups out there, and I know that I could sit here talking about so many that are on the scene right now that I think are just amazing. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to I kind of went down some rabbit holes on this podcast, and maybe not have accomplished everything that I wanted to accomplish on this podcast. But I thank you for joining me. Also, just remember, obviously to get your Rogue Energy. This is the best energy on the market. Use my promo code Firehawk, and save 10% each and every time that you shop. Every time, if you want to use my code every time you get Rogue Energy, definitely, it's the best. You know how when you get a lot of those powder, like energy drinks or hydration drinks, and you put the powder in your water, that there's always those chunks in your water. Like you always get a chunk and you get that powder chunk, and then it gets in your mouth and it's so gross. You don't get that with Rogue Energy. You don't get that. You don't get that with Rogue Energy. Like it almost feels like once it hits the water, it's almost dissolved. Like it just dissolves like almost instantly. Do shake it up, obviously, but it's just great, and it's transparent labeling. So whatever it says is in it on the label. So you don't have to be like, oh, I wonder what's in this. I wonder if there's this or that. And everybody's concerned about forever chemicals and stuff like that. You won't find that in here. You won't find those stuff in here. The flavors are amazing. Definitely try, go out and get some Rogue Energy. I greatly appreciate it. It would be obviously a big help to me, but I think that you will fall in love with it. This is better than any energy drink on the market. Like energy powder drinks, like it's better than all those out there. It's better tasting. It dissolves. You don't get those pockets of powder in your mouth and stuff like that. It dissolves. It's just every flavor is so good. I've tried so many of the flavors. Every time they come out with a new one, I have to try because they're always so good, and I really do love it. So definitely, if you could and you want to get some energy drink, some energy powder, and you play games and do that stuff, get your energy from Rogue Energy, because there's no better energy drink on the energy drinking powder that tastes as good and is good for you as Rogue Energy. So definitely go out and get some, and remember to use promo code Firehawk to save 10% each time you shop. I would greatly appreciate that, and I greatly appreciate all of you that have watched. I thank you so much. I know I kind of went on some rabbit holes on this podcast, but it's just kind of get me back into it. And I would definitely like you to share, hey, what are some of your favorite K-pop groups? What are some of your favorite J-pop groups? Definitely share that with me. I would definitely like to hear that because I love a lot of K-pop groups and J-pop groups, and so there's so many out there that I listen to, and so definitely share those with me. Share your thoughts with me. I do try to reply back to everybody that comments, unless it's obviously an inappropriate comment or whatever. Then I'm obviously just going to delete that and not pay attention to that. And if you want to waste your time doing that, then go ahead. But those comments don't faze me. I don't really. I can see before I start reading that what way it's going, and then I let it be like water off a duck's back and not focus on it and not think about it. So if you're trying to ruin my day with your comments, obviously examine yourself for sure. If that's the kind of person you want to be, that's terrible. But for me, if you're genuine, you want to talk about stuff and you want to, I will respond back to your comments. I make it a personal, goal of mine to respond back to everybody. And I have very much, whether it's me just saying I agree with you or thank you, I will definitely try to reply back because I think that's very, very much important. And so I value everybody who watches, everybody who listens, everybody who comments. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for joining me today. I know that maybe I went a little bit long and talked about different things that maybe kind of went on a little tirade about things, but I definitely have enjoyed this conversation, enjoyed doing this podcast today, and I hope that you enjoyed it. And if you enjoyed, share some of your comments and your thoughts, and share your first anime. Share those with me. Share some of your K-pop groups, some of your favorite anime songs. I would definitely love to hear it. Thank you, and I hope that you'll join me next time right here on the Masked Shinobi podcast.